Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is just pure genius. Honestly, I still can't believe that Nintendo was sitting on this for the longest. What's up, guys? It's HMK once again, and we are getting Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity in less than a month. If you guys somehow has been living under a rock, yes, Breath of the Wild is a trilogy, and Breath of the Wild is getting a prequel in the form of Age of Calamity ahead of Breath of the Wild 2, which I believe that at one point in time, oh, those were the days that it was going to release sometime in 2020. But, you know, given that we're getting Age of Calamity very soon this year, and this year is on its way out, this is a pretty good replacement, and I'll take that L, bowing. But the whole idea, the whole concept of Age of Calamity just being there, being in development by Koei Tecmo and Nintendo, just, you know, sliding them that project is just pure joy, pure genius. I'm like, how did this not get leaked? I'm so glad it did get leaked. Remember all of those leaks on Reddit, 4chan, all the like that said that, hey, this direct, or we're gonna get a direct on this day, and Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna get its name, it's gonna get a trailer, it's gonna get a release date. We've had that throughout the year, and it never happened. It never happened. It didn't happen. It was fiction. It's fiction. It was fiction. But here comes Nintendo, out of nowhere, complete nowhere, saying, hey, not only are we getting another Hyrule Warriors game, technically Hyrule Warriors 2, but it's Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, a canon story 100 years before Breath of the Wild, telling us the events of the Great Calamity. And I love the new tagline now. Nintendo literally says, the land you know, the land you remember, a story you don't. And I'm like, oh, Nintendo really said, oh, but, you know, you might think you know what happens, but you really don't. I mean, we kind of have an idea. We already have the idea of what's going to happen at the end. But what happens between whenever Age of Calamity starts and the end where Link falls, the champions fall, Hyrule falls, you know, the between points, we don't know. Especially since we're getting a new ominous, mysterious figure, a villain cloaked up, adorned with Calamity and Gerudo symbology. I'm just like, okay, there is something very tantalizing about this project. And the fact that Nintendo really trusted Koei Tecmo after Hyrule Warriors. Oh, I'm not saying anything about the original Hyrule Warriors was bad. You know, I loved Hyrule Warriors, but I mean, like, the whole concept of the original Hyrule Warriors was just, you know, a celebration, a festival of what we know when it comes to the Legend of Zelda series, all tied together in a Warrior-style game. It was a nice treat and has insane replay value. And if you have a Nintendo Switch and you haven't played Hyrule Warriors at all, or don't even have the definitive edition, I definitely recommend picking that up, because I mean, of course, it'll be a good primer, not story-wise, but gameplay-wise, to know what to expect when it comes to playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which I've got to say, right now, guys, don't expect Age of Calamity to be an open-world game. We've seen it has segregated maps, and, you know, those maps are taken from locations of Breath of the Wild, and the last time a Warriors game did a open-world setting, it did not end well. Anyways, this strategy must have been in play with Nintendo for a good minute behind the scenes, and I'm so glad that we actually got the announcement like a couple of months ahead of the release. Just imagine, you know, of everything that's going on with the world right now. Just imagine if this got revealed during E3 this year. I would have been losing my mind over waiting this long for the game. Just, you know, it getting released, you know, revealed in June and then released in November. I'm like, Bro, give me this game now! I'm like that right now! Either way, Nintendo was super smart about it, because they're playing a game, a strategy, to get us excited for the Breath of the Wild trilogy. You know, we've got Breath of the Wild, and then we got the reveal in 2019 about the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in development ahead of Age of Calamity. So they made sure that, hey, listen, Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel, Breath of the Wild 2, and Ganon, you know, Ganon is going to be a very big, important part of it. Calamity Ganondorf. The one thing that was missing from the original Breath of the Wild, Ganondorf, is going to plague Breath of the Wild 2. So for the longest, you know, Zelda content creators, theorists, fans, we were just like, dude, Breath of the Wild 2 is gonna look pretty lit. What's gonna go down? How are they gonna build upon this? We're going back to the same world. We're continuing the story. Something pretty much unheard of from The Legend of Zelda up until now. Sure, we got sequels before, but they always either contained a different Link or a different land. I mean, you want to say a link between worlds, but that was a different Link. Technically, it was the same Hyrule from A Link to the Past, but this time, everything is one-to-one. Same Link, same Zelda, same world, literally the next story. And I was pumped and hyped up for that. And then we had like a bit of a sadness when Nintendo didn't give us any type of, news or any type of screenshots or anything from Breath of the Wild 2. We did get that little confirmation that we have to wait a little bit more time when Age of Calamity was revealed, and that was good. He's okay, Breath of the Wild 2, they're still working on it. We have to wait a little bit more time. I'm good with that. And then they're like, oh, while you wait though, check this out. And then Age of Calamity. And then all the sadness went away, but it's gonna come back when we play the game because we know it's gonna go down at the end at least. But what I'm trying to say is that Nintendo was very smart about this. They literally had us primed up for Breath of the Wild 2, letting us know that Breath of the Wild 2 was gonna go down, it's in development, but then out of nowhere, Age of Calamity, a prequel, effectively making the Breath of the Wild series a trilogy. But with that latest trailer, well, one of the latest trailers, when you get the mysterious figure, the guy with the ominous Gerudo symbol and the Calamity eye on his forehead, and the whole notion that the land you remember, the land you know, a story you don't, really spells out that Age of Calamity is going to have a hand in setting up some sort of story element or something grand about the story of Breath of the Wild 2, and that's how Nintendo was smart about this. That's why Age of Calamity is genius, because the whole setup in terms of story, we're getting Ganondorf, and Ganondorf was a heavy symbol within Gerudo lore, and then this individual who is mysterious but has Gerudo symbology on their back, it really tells us a story is gonna go down in terms of setting up Ganondorf. That wasn't set up at all in Breath of the Wild. So they made sure to sow the seeds, plant the seeds of hype within all of us in terms of getting us ready for Breath of the Wild 2, letting us know that it exists and that Age of Calamity is going to strengthen that. I mean, we're going to play the game, we're going to enjoy the game, we're going to enjoy the story. But then once we're done with that, we're going to possibly keep playing the game because, Warriors games have a lot of replay value. But we're going to keep playing the game. We're going to be done with the game story. We're going to be talking about, festering about it, and how it connects to Breath of the Wild 2, which we already know, which they already revealed to us. And the fact that Age of Calamity is being developed by another team, which wouldn't impede the development of Breath of the Wild 2, which I truly believe at this point is 2021, Zelda 35th anniversary. Anybody? Nintendo? Geniuses. And the fact that the Zelda team themselves is overseeing Age of Calamity way harder than the original Hyrule Warriors, to the point where they're approving all of the dialogue and story within the game, it's going to be grand. And the fact that, I'm still flabbergasted, because they really didn't have to do this. They really didn't have to make a game like this. They really didn't, because, creating a champion was a good chunk of what they wanted to tell us about the Great Calamity, but, not everything. But we got what we thought we needed, but now with Age of Calamity, we're gonna get everything. Hopefully everything. During that time. But when Breath of the Wild 2 is going to continue the story in ways that I feel are going to be wild. Breath of the Wild. What we knew is that the Calamity happened. When we played Breath of the Wild, we knew the Calamity happened. It destroyed, it messed up Hyrule almost beyond repair. Right? And then we have to find a way to stop the Calamity from destroying the world and restoring balance to the land of Hyrule and taking out the Calamity and cleaning it up and saving Zelda. And from the memories, we saw that they were priming up for Calamity Ganon, but now I feel with Age of Calamity, we're really going to get the story behind each of these characters, their relationships, and the true cause of the Calamity, which can really set up the horrors that lie within the deep when it comes to Ganondorf. And this whole situation gets me hyped. I really did not expect, you know, like, I did expect Breath of the Wild 2 2020. I was hoping for that a lot, but I did not expect this grand explosion, this grand catalyst for so much more with Age of Calamity rolling into the end of this year. I did not expect to get this much, and it's grander than I ever expected. And I just wanted to vent. I just wanted to get hyped. I want to get you hyped about the sheer big brain, galaxy brain, fifth dimension-ness of Age of Calamity, Breath of the Wild 2. Nintendo, they really know. They had a golden goose when Breath of the Wild came out, and they are putting a lot of eggs into the basket. But, you know, it's Nintendo. I'm very confident in that. But let me know what you guys think about Age of Calamity, the hype, how it connects to Breath of the Wild 2, and if this move was genius. Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. More Zelda videos, more content is coming. Age of Calamity, give me this game now. We're less than a month away. This has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.